to my channel. This is the I think the third part now of my Downton Abbey little series with my junk journal. And the first one I showed you how I took books apart. The second one I have showed you how I put my signatures together and sort of my little bit of method to my madness in my head, how I do that. And this one here I want to show you how I've put some ephemera pieces together, just yeah, the basics of that. And I also want to show you, which is, it's reflecting the light, some things that I got for this junk journal from the Opshop. Now you will see a full video of this on a future ThriftshopCrafter haul, but I'm just going to show you the bits and pieces I got for this journal. The first thing was this gorgeous tray. Now what I wanted to do is put the book on a or the junk journal on a tray to be passed around at the wedding. Now these are my signatures put together, and what I did, I haven't done it all yet, I still haven't sewn these signatures up, but I cut a piece of this it was a gorgeous little tablecloth that is just really fine, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to wrap this inside the junk journal so that this is how it will open. It will have this little pin here, and I don't have a fancy little pin, but this is the pin that I'll have in it for now. And then when you open, like, you'll have the cover. Okay, so that's the cover. Hang on, where's my there's the cover. Okay, so you'll open it up. This will all be attached in the junk journal, so you'll open it up and then you'll use the pin to open that. Okay, so it won't actually have a closure as such. This will sort of be the inside closure. Now the brief for this from my daughter was clean and classy, so I sort of want to keep it like that, to keep it in this clean, classy sort of category, if you can say that. Now I went to one Opshop and I said, do you have any silver trays out the back, because I couldn't find anything on the store floor. And she said, oh, actually I think we do. She came out with this one and an oval shaped one. The oval shaped one was absolutely beautiful, but it was only this big and it was too small, so I chose this one because it's got this gorgeous bling. Look at it, this gorgeous bling around the outside. Now I'll give this a clean up as far as I can and as much as I can, and then the junk journal will be served to everyone on this platter. Okay, so I want to keep that classy sort of feel to this junk journal. I was so chuffed to find this. And then after this, I went to a couple of other shops and I just found some more bits and pieces. Oh gosh, I was so excited. Now in one bag there was this sort of stuff, okay, and I do have some of this sort of pearly stuff, but there was a whole bag full of bits and pieces. And in the bag there was this. In the ThriftshopCrafter haul, I show what was actually in the whole bag. But look at this lace. Oh, it's getting stuck on my finger. Doesn't that look like that flapper era? I just love that. Love it. So that is going to go in the journal. Then I found in this bag all this gorgeous heavy lace. Or is it called a gupe lace? Something like that. And it's got little green beads on it. This the camera isn't showing this. It's much nicer green in real life. So there's quite a few of green motifs, so I can add that onto some ephemera. Really excited to get that. I have got other sorts of the gupe lace as well. I found this card in the bits and pieces and I thought that could be a nice ephemera piece in here too. Just says congratulations, and this is a wedding junk journal. So, and it's not written on at all. It's got that beautiful decal edge, so I'm going to include that in the journal. Oh, there's another piece of that. And then I went to another Opshop a little bit later, and I told, you know, it pays to ask the people behind the desk, do you have anything from this era that could suit this era? And she bought this big tray of bits over. She said, oh, you look crafty. So she brought them over, and I had a scratch through. I didn't really see anything. And she said, what are you sort of after? And I said, something from Downton Abbey era. And she had a scratch, and she came out with this. Isn't that gorgeous? This little hair thing. I'm going to put some of these on the front of the journal. So we come home with that. And then I went over and had a look at the necklaces, and I came up with this one. This is a real flapper necklace, this one. It's got the tassel on it, and it's just a nice black necklace. Love it. Look at it. So what I'm envisioning for this is it will go on the outside as a dangle on the junk journal. Okay, I think that will look absolutely gorgeous. And I also thought I want to include something for men in here, not just to make it look all pretty like women's thing. So I researched what the ties looked like back in the 20s, and I know this isn't a 1920s tie, but a lot of these stripes were in back then. So I grabbed a tie that had stripes on it, and I may make that into a flap in the journal that you lift up. I like that it's this looks really vintage too, all this fabric in here. It's a pity it didn't have its little tag, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm not too worried about that. And then my last thing, and the most gorgeous thing, I wanted a pair of gloves, and I know I've got a pair of lacy gloves that are old, and I couldn't find them here anywhere. I'm pretty sure they're over in my storage bay with my keep doilies. But when I was at the Opshop, and the same Opshop I found this necklace at, I was having a look under the counter, you know, everywhere, and I found these. Aren't they amazing? These gloves. I'm going to put one on, see if it fits my hand. Just take my ring off. And in that era, they wore the gloves that went up past your, oh gosh, they are small. They are small size, and look, you do them up. Aren't they beautiful? And they wore the gloves way up past their elbow back in that day. Oh, these are just amazing, and they are small. I've got small hands, so these are for someone very, very petite. But they're absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to include this in here as a part of the ephemera in this book. I want it to be classy. I want it to have all those little bits and pieces that bring you back to that era. So that is a look at some of the things that I have recently found that I'm very excited about. So what I will show you what I have done. I have cut pictures out, all the little bits and pieces that I said I was going to cut out for journal cards. And what I've done, if I tip all these over, I have backed them all with tea dyed paper or coffee dyed paper. Okay, so some of them I have cut with my decal scissors. Just a pair of these. I've had these ones forever, and they cut that beautiful old-fashioned decal edge. And so I have made them into journal cards that I'm going to put in pockets, because I want the guests to write messages to the bride and groom on here. And these are a mix. Most of these pictures came out of that junk journal in that first video that I said, if you're going to do a Downton Abbey one, get that book. They all came out of there, and there's a mix of real photos and Downton Abbey characters. Look at this, just for instance, that came out of the same book. Okay, and it gives you the Downton Abbey feel because you've got the characters there, but then you've got real life photos, and I love the mix in there. So that's what I've done, and they're all backed on this beautiful old paper to write in. So all of these ones that are backed, they will go in pockets. And see, these were in that book too. See, here's one that, for instance, this is Lady Edith, and you know, it's all tying it in with that old era, which I just love. Okay, this one was from another book. These were from the Downton Abbey one, and they just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Love that picture. That was from a different book. So you can add your own, you know, different pictures in from a different book and tying it all into that era. I love that it's got this little tag on this one, and where it had this sort of ephemera, I cut it out to make it look like that old ephemera is still there. There's pictures of the series, but you know, they are made to look old, which I just really love about that book. Right, so they're all backed in the tea dyed paper, and I made sure I picked pictures of weddings especially out of that book. These came out of a separate book, but I backed them in tea dyed paper. And look at this one, isn't it gorgeous? And then this big long one of the men. I love this one of the men in that era. So they're all backed, those ones, ready to be put in pockets for people to write on and all that sort of stuff. So that's one thing I've done off camera. These pictures here, I am going to use them to turn into pockets. These ones here, these long ones, I am going to make into tags. So I'm going to cut the corners off here and make them into tags, and do it the same as this. I'm going to back it with that coffee dyed paper. So I made sure I got some wedding photos out of there, and these, yeah, there's another wedding photo. So there's 4 nice wedding photos that will go in there, and I think there's some in those pages as well. And then others I'll turn into pockets. The bigger photos like this, I'll turn that into a pocket. And I may turn this one, I love this photo, turn this one into like a belly band type thing in the journal as well. So that's my ideas. And look, all these ones that are going in as pockets, I'll be sticking little bits of lace and trim and all that sort of stuff on it as well when I sort of, you know, tart it all up and make it look good. This one here too, I'm going to just stick this end, and I will actually just fold this, and this will turn into a flap because I love both sides of that. All right, so I've quickly showed you the signatures and what I was going to do as a closure for that. So I'll just take that off. I just really love that idea that it's going to have a closure, but it'll be on the inside of the book, and the book will still open, but then next you open up this closure to get in the book. So, and I just love that tablecloth. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous tablecloth, and I've got quite a few other pieces of that. I just tore a strip off it, so that will work really nicely, I think. All right, I've got my signatures all together. I ended up putting like a little doily in between one, and I might even I got these in a recent Opshop haul too. I might add some of these. They might be a little bit big, but I could probably trim them down, and I might add them in there somehow as well, because there's a really, which one? There's a really pretty one in here that would suit that. I love that. This one, I just love how it's got that stamping on it, postage stamping on it. I think all of them would suit, you know. I think they will all look beautiful in there. So I'm going to add them to the pages. Okay, I really do have to get a wriggle on with this because time is running out for me. So I'm really happy how these signatures came together. I think they look classy and clean, and like I said, you know, I can go ahead and put some, you know, flaps like that on it and whatever in, you know, in amongst it. So I think I am at the stage where I'm going to have to When I make a junk journal, I always seem to do the cover first. I don't know why. But I thought I must get all the signatures together before I do the cover, because then I'm not flapping around trying to put the signatures together. So all my signatures are here, all my journal cards are here, and other sorts of pockets and stuff, and they can all be put in when I sew these in. So I will off camera I'll put them in as well. So that is where I'm up to with that. Now my next thing, I have to get working on the cover. I also have pieces of that beautiful wallpaper, beautiful wallpaper, which is all you can see the emboss, how deeply it's embossed. It's stunning. So I've cut out little sections of that wallpaper that I can use inside, which I think will look beautiful. I cut up this little it was an Opshop thing, and it had like all sorts of little tag things like this that people can write on the back. I can stick in little pockets and things. I also cut up all the little quotes that I wanted, that I thought would be suitable from the book. These are all Downton Abbey quotes, and it says who quotes it and what they say. So that will get stuck on pages 2 to decorate. There's that was all the chapters in the book, so I might cut all those words apart. And I may have said that before. And then the chapters in the book, I've just saved some of them that say society, romance and style. I only chose the chapters that are going to suit a wedding. I didn't add the war pictures in. I didn't add the behind scenes pictures in. And I think there was one other thing. House and estate. I might have put a little bit of that in. Life and service. I didn't put that in, and I didn't put change in. Okay, I think I put family life, and then society, yeah. So I just wanted to pick things that were applicable to a wedding. Now these are pieces of paper that were offcuts to that pad that I bought. They can go in things as bits to write on. And then all these little pictures were off the dust cover. Aren't they gorgeous? And they will all go on bits and pieces of ephemera as well. Aren't they gorgeous? So don't waste anything. Don't, just make sure you double look at everything on there to use for something. I even kept the spine off the actual book to put in here as well. Love the picture of Highclere Castle. And then I also kept the big long picture here of everyone in this series. And I may put that, I don't know, in the middle, or I may put it like in the front. I'm not sure yet, but I really need to get on with putting my cover together. So that's where I'm at. I cut this out off camera too, and it is a piece of card that is 2.5 inches wide, and the length of the actual cover that I want to use. Now I checked this on the tray. It's a nice size on the big silver tray. It's not too small. The tray's not too small, so it will be good size. Because I was worried I might have to cut the journal cover down, but I don't think I have to, which is good. So this I've rambled on a lot, so what I want to do is this cover. I think I have to get on with the cover. I really do. So I hope this is just a short video just to show you what I've done with the ephemera pieces. And once they've all been trimmed, cut and ready, and my closure, all these journal cards that I've backed with tea dyed and coffee dyed paper, which are all for the guests to write on, write little messages. And then these ones I haven't backed them because I want to use them as pockets or things like that. So that's my thoughts behind that. Now there's a lot of photos in this book, but that's what it's about. I've seen other Downton Abbey journals, and it's just all frills and there's no pictures. There's no pictures of Downton Abbey, that's sort of not what I think. My daughter wanted, pictures of Downton Abbey. So all these big main pictures, I have made them into pockets. I may have showed you that in the other the last video. So there's big pockets in here which are cool, and I will put some things in there as well. Mainly I think what I did was I printed out see if I can find one. Yeah, I printed out old paper, like I got some of my tea-dyed paper and I printed out an old letter, just something that I found off the internet, doesn't have to say Downton Abbey, and I put that in that main big pocket. Others I put them in, I'll see if I can find one. Others I put them in as pages. See if I can find one. Where are you? Well, not in that one, it may be in the next. Oh, and another thing that I did, I originally had 2 signatures, but the 2 signatures weren't sitting right. They were too fat and they were poking out in the end. The middle here was poking out. So what I had to do was divide it into 3 signatures, and they sat better. And then I got my cutter and I cut anything that poked out much past that first page, so that it neatened up. There's nothing that's really poking out bad in the middle here. So they were some changes that I made to the signature. There's another page that I printed out, and it was just some sort of ledger. If you just type in free ledger paper, vintage ledger, you'll come up with all sorts of stuff you can print off the internet. So I put those sorts of things in here as well, because I thought that would look cool, some pieces of ledger paper. So there were some that went in pockets, some that went in as journal pages, and others that I will maybe stick on the back of something, or yeah, just to add that. See, there's a nice beautiful wallpaper page, isn't that gorgeous? Yeah, so I know there's big pictures in here, but I'm going to put something like a pocket on some of these pages just to break that down. But isn't this picture gorgeous? It's absolutely gorgeous. Some of them I'm not going to put anything on because it just gives you that beautiful Downton Abbey feel to the book. See, here's another ledger that I printed out just on some tea-dyed paper. Now, if you're doing this, this is a bit of trial and error. See how my page is really quite squashed from the whole dye process? It went through the printer, but make sure you put the straightest edge down in your printer because I probably wasted 5 or 6 pieces of paper that got stuck in the printer because the edge of the paper wasn't nice and straight. So there's a little tip for you if you're printing out that ledger paper onto some old tea dyed or coffee dyed paper. So I'm really loving how this is looking, and yeah, that's my step now, is to get in and do the cover so I can sew these signatures in, and so then I can start decorating the pages. That's what takes me the longest. I like to go over and over and through the book again and add things and just make sure there's enough space in there for everyone to tuck a photo or everyone to write something. So there's going to be 30 guests, but there won't be 30. I was thinking, gosh, is this going to be fat enough? I've sort of had to go through everything in my head is this going to be fat enough when I get Polaroid pictures in here? It's going to really burst out the pages because they're quite thick. So that was my idea of putting the 2.5-inch spine. So then when that's made, I've got this much squish room, okay, that other things can go in. Because if you add the volume of these journal cards, look at the volume of that. That's giving you a lot of volume too. And then these other things, when you stick them in, they all add volume to your journal. So you have to keep that into consideration when you're deciding the size of your spine. All right, so I think I'll be okay, because there probably won't be 30 Polaroid pictures, because a lot of people will take a picture of them and their partner, or their like husband and wife. So I'm hoping there'll be about 15 to 20 Polaroids in there. And if there's more, then there's more. It'll just might stick out a little bit further, but that's okay. And then I have to take into consideration also when that this closure that will be inside there, that's why I've pinned it, because I don't know how big that's going to be to close it up. So I've had to think about all those things before I sort of put it together. That's why I've been a little bit longer on this stage of it. And I had to make sure this was longer to accommodate when this grows a little, to accommodate, so it could, you know, do up there, because it's going to be a little bit fatter. So that's why I'm just going to do it up with a pin, and it'll be an inside closure. And yeah, that's my reasoning behind that. I'll also put a little bit of lace on the edges of the pages, but I don't want to overdo that. I don't want lace sticking out everywhere. That's not the look I'm going for, but I will add some to it. I do have a little bit of like flapper fringe type stuff, you know, that was on dresses. I may put a little bit of that in the ephemera inside the book. So I don't want a whole lot hanging out here. There may be a couple of little tabs with something hanging off it, but I don't want to cram this up with lace. Although I love lace and I love doing that, I'm not going to do that with this one. Now I've sort of picked a bluish theme because I love this blue cover, and so the doily's blue. The tie that I showed you is blue, and there's a few other things like that that sort of reflect that blue color. So and it's not I mean, it's not because my daughter's having a blue wedding. Her favorite color is orange, so this is nothing to do with what color she likes. It's just trying to tie all this Downton Abbey thing together. Alright, so I hope you've enjoyed looking at what I did with those journal cards, pocket type things. Some of the pockets will be lace as well. Some of the pockets will be different types. I'll even use some of these wallpapers as pockets. I think they would look beautiful, and I can line them with some lace and things like that. So that's what I'm thinking. That's how my head's working with this journal. So now what I need to do is I'll get all of the bits and pieces together for this journal cover, and I'll take you through how I make a journal cover. I love making the covers. They are probably my favorite part of the junk journaling. I love to put all my creative effort into the cover as well. All right, thanks for watching, and if you're new here, please like, share and subscribe, and show others what I'm doing with this Downton Abbey junk journal. And like I said, it's going to be for my daughter's wedding, and so everything that's going in there is wedding, sort of purposely put in there for a wedding. And I will, I've also got these playing cards. I'm going to add some of them in too, because I researched how how old playing cards are, and they went back way past Downton Abbey 20s, the 1920s. So they're pink, but that doesn't matter. I'll add some of these in there because they're gold, and they'll bring a lush sort of look to some of this. I may even put some photos on either side of it, and from the Downton Abbey book. All right. Thanks for watching, and I will come back soon and we will start on that cover. So yes, take care. It's a freezing cold day here. It's been raining, it's been windy, it's been miserable, but we're tucked up in this cabin, nice and toasty and warm. Pickle is under a furry blanket up the cuddled up with Dave, and yeah, we're all good, and I hope you are too. So happy crafting, and I'll see you soon. Bye.